Hello, everyone. Welcome to our 2023 season review. I am Berzerker, and today we have the channel, the guru PandoraBot himself. Now
I'm
we
not a
are gonna be
guru, by the way.
now we are gonna be talking about this 2023 spring season. And now, according to many people, this is one of the gems of the anime season that we had in a long time. It had some very heavy hitter animes, something like Oshinoko. We also had leftovers like Vinland Saga. We also had some of the other recurring anime like Demon Slayer, and we also had some new animes that are getting adopted. Adapted. We also had many new animes that got adapted to. And we also had many mangas that got adapted. Okay,
I
right.
can't, bro.
We also had many manga that finally got adapted to anime. So there are a lot of different animes to talk about. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so hey, what's up? It's PandoraBot, guys. So first, I guess we'll be discussing Oshi no Ko, which is the anime of the year for most people and anime of the season specifically. So I just wanted to talk to Mr. Berserker about this on how he thought about the anime, because I did have him watch it as well as after I gave him a recommendation. So what were your thoughts on the anime?
Yeah, so we are gonna talk about Oshinoko. I feel like Oshinoko's probably like the spotlight of this season, and just like its main character, there is a lot to unpack here. It's an anime that is very complex, so I feel like we're gonna talk more about it in details near the end of the podcast. But to begin with, let us overview this season. What did you think about the 2023 spring season as a whole? What are your thoughts about it? Because you have watched, I believe, at least about 20 animes this season. So what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, I watched almost all of the anime this season, and I think this has been one of the better seasons that we've had in a long time. Probably like maybe 3-4 seasons now. There have been a few, trashy isekai anime this season. They're all actually very bad, so you guys don't have to waste your time watching those this season. But for the most part, we do have a lot of standouts. Mostly focused on romance this season around, and if you guys do enjoy romance, then there are quite a few anime that I do recommend this season from the romance genre.
Now, it seems like we are going through this phase in anime industry where we're having these insane amount of isekai animes. Like every season you see like 5, 6, 7 coming out with different ideas. So compared to the other ones, because you did do a video about isekai madness that we had like a couple of seasons ago. So where do you think the industry is moving in this isekai madness?
So in terms of manga releases, we're still getting a lot of new mangas regarding isekai being released. So over the years, I think we'll still be expecting a lot more isekai. This season specifically, the isekai that were adapted, those were from mangas from like 2018 or something like that. So on average, we are getting more and more isekai anime being adapted, but it is taking a while. So I think the good ones are going to be coming later down the line. We've had a few good ones animated so far. Actually, next season we're getting Mushoku Tensei's season 2, which is one of those good ones. So every now and then you will be getting one of those good isekai, but it's more of a quantity over quality thing these days. That's how I feel, at least.
Yeah, Mushoku Tensei is definitely like the household isekai anime, like a lot of people's go to when they think about isekai. There has been an issue that you mentioned in your other video where you talk about Kage no the Eminence in the Shadow, right?
Yeah.
It had a really good manga, but the adaptation was all right? Because you had high expectations for it. You had been following this manga for a long time, but the adaptation hasn't been on par as what it could have been.
Well, I mean, that's what I thought at first.
Okay.
I think that's what I told you originally.
What happened to your opinion at the end of the
So I'll go over why I thought it was bad at first, because it's adapting the light novel, not the manga, so they did go through like a different they had less comedy in the light novel compared to the manga, but and what I didn't like was how in the anime they started episode 1 with like the first chapter from, I think it was like volume 5 or volume 6 or something. So it was starting in like the middle of nowhere. So I was just thinking, what the heck are they going with this animation direction? But they shut me up. They did pretty well, honestly, with the rest of the anime. And they were pretty faithful to the source material, and I think all the hype scenes were animated very well. So it ended up turning out really well, honestly, in my opinion. Probably not as good as the manga could have, is, and it could have been better, but it's still definitely really, really good.
Now, moving on to the videos that you do, doing what to expect, like the top 10 anime that you thought's gonna surprise everyone. So the list you had was Skip and Loafer, Galaxy Next Door, Hell's Paradise, Heavenly Delusion, Insomniacs After School, the new Dr. Stone,
Birdie, yeah,
the second season of Birdie, second season of Gundam, the new season of Demon Slayer, and Oshi no Ko. So let's talk about some of the sequels and get them out of the way first, and then we can talk about some of the original animes, right?
Sure.
The big ones. Demon Slayer. Do you think Ufotable has been doing an awesome job with it for a long time? How do you think the Swordsmith Village arc has held up?
I think the Swordsmith Village arc was good. It's still, I think it was actually, they're leveling up still in terms of their animation quality. So I feel like this is one of their better animated arcs. The issue was the plot was, at that point of the manga, it was also kind of subpar. So it's not as good as the previous seasons of Demon Slayer, mainly because of the plot wise, but the animation was really good. And the choices that Ufotable made when it came to their storytelling compared to like how the manga did it was a lot better in my opinion. So it's definitely worth watching, especially if people like the previous seasons of Demon Slayer. I would definitely put it lower than the Entertainment District arc and the Infinite Train arc. It's like at the level between the first season of Demon Slayer and Mugen Shahen. So it's like the second worst Demon Slayer at the moment.
When we're talking about long shonens, is Demon Slayer something you would recommend over some of the more established shonens?
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of the established shonens, aside from Hunter x Hunter, are pretty old, right? So their animation quality isn't as great as Demon Slayer. It's a lot of eye candy that will make people think it's a lot better than what it actually is, just because of the fact that it elevates the animation. So that's mainly the reason why I would recommend it. And it's not like it's you have to watch a bunch in a row. I think it's only 40 something episodes now.
Yeah, it's definitely more palatable than the classic shonens that we saw.
Yep.
All right, so let's moving on. Gundam Witch Season 2. You're like a big G-Witch fan, so tell us about this season of Gundam Witch, what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty biased when it comes to Gundam anime.
But tell us, do you think this season was much better than compared to last season? Because
of course,
I'm on the fence
100%.
about getting into it. As someone who doesn't really like the mecha animes and someone who hasn't really liked Evangelion or Gurren Lagann, I had this big hesitation of watching G-Witch. So, as someone like me, someone who doesn't really care about mecha animes or these fights, do you think it's something to watch, something to look out for, or do you think, it's just another one?
Okay, dude. First of all, I do want to talk about how you did compare it to Evangelion and...
Yeah, of course. This is my perspective as someone who hasn't had exposed to these mecha animes. So
of course.
Tell us.
I want because Gundam is very, very different from those type of anime. It's more focused on politics usually, and a lot of focus on international war, rather galactic war. So, if people have watched things like Legend of the Galactic Heroes or even Code Geass, it's more similar to those type of anime rather than Neon Genesis Evangelion, which are focusing more on psychological aspects than politics and things like that. And it's not just focused on politics as well. It appeals to a mainstream audience too, in my opinion, in terms of the mecha fights. All of the animation and sound quality by Sunrise are it's done very well.
So, but by your recommendation, I did watch, I think, the prologue of G-Witch that Sunrise did, and the animation was really good. It was excellent, and the soundtrack is also pretty excellent. Now, how would you compare the new Gundam compared to the old school Gundam? The animation wasn't as good, so I wasn't really into it, but how would you compare the old one and the new one?
So in terms of the old ones, yeah, the animation wasn't as good. The sound quality was still good back then, in my opinion,
Yeah.
at least. Which was a surprise, honestly, considering what they had in terms of technology. But yeah, it's only just gotten better in
Yeah,
terms
it actually is
of quality.
surprising because I heard some of these Gundam soundtracks, and even as not as a I'm not a Gundam fan. But
I'm
I
not even
still,
talking about
favorite some
Yeah,
of these
I'm not even talking about soundtrack. I'm talking about like sound effects from
sound effects,
like the laser beams and things like that. Those are freaking nuts even back in the day. But I think in terms of story, a lot of Gundam are kind of hard to get into, the old ones. But these days, most of the anime are pretty standalone in terms of what you're watching. So, I mean, of course, it is good to have that other background with previous Gundam anime, but it's not completely relevant in terms of story for almost any of them these days. So you can watch almost any Gundam like just straight up from the first season that's released.
Now, speaking of politics, this was the final season of Vinland for now, and it's been hyped for the anime community for a long time.
Farmland Saga. I don't think it has been hyped.
Farmland Saga, yes, definitely Farmland Saga. It's very slower than the original Vinland, but what do you think about the new Vinland Saga? Because it is also pretty politics heavy, especially near the end of the Vinland Saga season 2. We see a lot of movement within the Canute and other his territories. So what do you think about like the transition from this this action anime to this more relaxed, more slower anime?
Yeah, I still liked the current season of Vinland. I think it wasn't really focused too much on politics, but rather more on, like, I don't know how to describe it, but more on the focus on lifestyle and growing up as an adult.
This season of Vinland gave Thorfinn the much needed glow up because he was a very one-dimensional character in season 1. But in this season of Vinland, he actually grows up a lot, and the anime does a really good job of showcasing it. It's slow, it's much slower. I read the manga, it was much slower. Some of the scenes were much slower. Mappa, drew it out, but they gave Thorfinn that much needed glow up. And I feel like it's a mark of a good anime when it can change genre but still be good. When I think about anime like that, like Hunter x Hunter, you think about Hunter x Hunter, you have the York New arc, then you go to the Greed Island arc, and then you go to the Ant arc.
Damn, I missed
They're
Greed
all
Island.
different. Yeah, Grid Island was like a different anime, but it still was Hunter x Hunter, and it still was a good anime. So I feel like a mark of a good anime is that you can swap your entire genre, change up the story, follow someone else, and still get a good story. And I feel like Vinland Saga Season 2 is an example of that. Now, there has been a lot of disappointment in the anime community because a lot of people like the Viking fights, and it's incredible. The Viking fights are pretty good, I'm not going to lie, but I feel like this season gives the anime the more depth that it much needed.
Yeah, it's for people that have read Vagabond previously, it's very similar to that. I think Vagabond did it better in terms of the transition, because a lot of what happens to Thorfinn this season is too sudden, in my opinion. I mean, he does go over why he thinks certain ways, but people that did watch it this season will come to question, how come Thorfinn doesn't fight back and so on, things like that, because normally these sorts of changes in mentality happen gradually, but for Thorfinn it happened almost instantly, which was the only downside for me. But I still think that it was still a very good season, and I did like how they tied in like a contrast with Canute compared to Canute's growth from the opposite of the way Thorfinn's going towards. Like before, Canute was mainly focused on a lot of peace talks and things like that, but now he's a warmonger compared to Thorfinn, who's now trying to be peaceful compared to being a warmonger in the past. So it's a very interesting contrast between the two characters, and I think that elevates the story as well.
So with that said, let's talk about some of the more less serious, more fun anime, right? So let's talk about Birdie Wing. It got its second season. What do you think about Birdie Wing?
It was still really good in my opinion. There have been a lot of plot changes, plot twists. I guess I don't know how to explain it, but there have been a lot of new plot points that are changing the whole dynamic of the story, and I did not expect any of that from the first season, but it's still insanely good, and the way it ended was really good as well. It was pretty open-ended, so I feel like we won't be getting another season of Birdie Wing, but I felt like it was a very good closure to the story.
Okay, so we're not gonna go into spoilers because it had a lot of plot twists. Yeah. So we're gonna briefly go over Doctor Stone. Well, I dropped Doctor Stone into the second season. I feel like I kind of got bored. It didn't offer much. So do you think Doctor Stone this new season has anything to offer?
It's the same old, honestly. It's if you guys enjoyed Doctor Stone, just to like mindlessly look at people Senku developing new things and just enjoy the comedy behind it as well. It's the same exact thing, honestly. I did mention it in my the spring 2023 video where it's how they're finally getting closer to unveiling the mystery behind the petrification, so they are getting closer to that at least. So there is a bit of story progress in terms of the main story, but it's still just a slow slog kind of in terms of progression. So if people enjoyed previous seasons of Doctor Stone, you'd still enjoy it, but it's not anything special.
It feels like Doctor Stone is just showing off how smart Senku is, and it's just watching Senku do cool stuff. And I feel like the overall story is just like a background thing. Because it should be more of a threat. It should be more of suspense and more urgency to this. They're going way too on ham with how Senku's cool, he can develop things, and a little bit into how the society is developing around him and his rivals. So it's definitely boring to me, but I feel like the beginning of Doctor Stone was good, but I'm not sure about this.
I agree. Yeah.
Now let's talk about some of the original animes, either manga adoptions or original screenplay.
This guy keeps saying adoptions, by the way. these manga are getting adopted into anime, not adapted.
Coming into this season, MAPPA has been showing off Hell's
Did
Paradise
MAPPA do anything else aside from? Oh yeah, they did.
Yes,
they did Jigokuraku, right?
Jigokuraku, yeah. Coming into this season, Jigokuraku seemed like it's been hyped up by MAPPA. I've seen a lot of trailers of it, but I wasn't really excited for it. So tell me about Hell's Paradise. What do you think of it?
I think it was good. It's not like anything amazing, but it's still good in the sense that it's a story that we have the story type is very unique. We haven't had anything like it in a long time. I don't know if we had anything like it in general at all, actually. So it's very interesting in that sense. It's very similar to a movie I think I mentioned it in my previous video, the Annihilation movie, in terms of like the world, but
I remember very vividly you trashing that movie.
That movie was very bad, dude. I don't know what to say. It was just very bad. Some of my friends liked it, and it was just bad. I don't know what else to say, but I think it was good in terms of the anime, because all of the characters are very, very cool, and they do go into the backgrounds behind everyone, and they do try to make you cry, I guess. They do have like sad scenes of people dying. Spoilers, by the way. I mean, I'm not telling you who dies, but people do die, of course. People die when they are killed, right? That's what.
Well, they're trying to get that immortality thing, right?
They're trying to get that immortality thing.
So it's kind of given that a lot of people are gonna, die, whatever. It's gonna there's gonna be a lot of this. It's like a battle royale type of thing. Is that what it is?
It's I mean, it was honestly supposed to start like that, and the bigger threat was the inhabitants of the island, who are kind of like gods almost. So though most of the people that do get sent to that island end up banding up together, at least the survivors. So it's not really that much of a battle royale in that sense anymore.
Now, this season there was also a lot of slice of life animes, a lot of drama animes. Anything that stood out? In your video, you talked about Galaxy Next Door, Insomniacs After School, Skip and Loafer. There were a lot of these slice of life, daily lives animes. Is there anything that stood out, or do you feel like that been like a disappointment?
Dude, first of all, I wanna give a shout out to Boku no Kokoro no Yabai Yatsu. I think it's like I forget what the exact
Yes, we are
English
gonna
is.
talk. We are gonna talk about Yabai-Yatsu
Yeah.
a little bit later, but I'm
Okay.
talking about from your list. Yeah,
Bruh.
from your list. From your list, Galaxy Next Door, Skip and Loafer, Insomniacs After School. Any of
Okay.
them stood out more than you, or did like disappoint?
So I feel like Insomniacs After School, based off my rating, I think I put it like at 6. I think I would drop it down a little bit, maybe to like rank 7 or rank 8, but it's still really good in my opinion. But again, I was biased towards that because I'm also an
You're an
Insomniac, so
Insomniac.
yeah,
Yeah, we
so
know.
so yeah, I put that kind of high just because of that.
Oh
but
yeah, it feels good, doesn't it? Like to be represented as Insomniac.
yeah, dude, it feels hella good. But it's not even just that. Like the dynamic between the male lead and the female lead is just very cute to watch. So that's the main reason why I like it. And then when it comes to the other two, A Galaxy Next Door, it wasn't as good as I was hoping it to be.
Yeah.
I don't really recommend it honestly anymore. Probably not even like top 15 anymore. But it was okay. Probably like a solid 7. Probably like a solid 6 or 7. So if people enjoy slice of life and they don't have anything to watch, then watch
But the
that.
Galaxy Next Door had a lot of potential.
It had a lot of potential.
It
That's
had
for
a
sure.
lot of potential. That story type where they have to like do it in secret, but they like each other, their next door neighbors. They had all this potential, but I feel like it didn't live up to that hype that that we wanted. And speaking of that, how do you think Skip and Wolfer held out? Because I feel like it was a big disappointment.
Really, I think
Yeah.
it was it was definitely good. I think I put it accurately on my list. I know a lot of people had
Yeah.
it higher than I did though, so for them it
But
might have been a
you
disappointment.
would say there are other animes that aired in the season that if you feel like you would like take Skip and Loafer out and put them instead, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think he keeps moving away from his cringiness as every episode goes, mainly because of the influence from.
Elf is also that took the community by surprise and by the storm. Oshinoko. Let's set the stage, right?
Okay.
Oshinoko is now ranked 15 on my anime list. It's standing at 8.96 with over 500,000 members. So it's very popular and it's rated very high. And it's also not an anime that aired before. It's not like Bleach where bandwagon to get a high score. It's something that came out. It's a new anime. It's a new series. So it's not like something like Attack on Titan or Bleach that already had previous establishment. It's a new anime that took the anime community by surprise and by storm.
Yeah, I mean it's a very unique anime as well. I know a lot of people just look at the basic concept and they're like, what, idols? I'm not
that's
gonna like
me.
this
That
at all,
was me
right?
at the beginning
That
of
was
the
you,
season,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I also want to talk about your opinion on that as well. I mean, I told you that if you liked episode 1, which was an hour long, you'd like the rest of the anime. And I also say the same thing to all of you viewers out here as well. If you are liking the first episode of Oshinoko, you definitely will like the rest of it. So I know you had different thoughts as well when you were watching it, especially like episode 1, and you had like some qualms about certain aspects of the anime. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I feel like there is this expression that says, "Don't judge a book by its cover," and I feel like the cover for Oshinoko is pretty deceptive. When you first mentioned it in the spring 2023 video, it was your number 1. It is also written by the same author that did Kaguya-sama, Akasaka Aka. I think that's his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm not really into anime like that. So I honestly didn't think I was gonna watch Oshinoko. And again, as you said, I have no interest in the idol world. I have no interest in any of that stuff. After watching the trailer, and I feel like it had this deep, a more bleak tone to it, a side of it that doesn't get revealed by the poster. So I gave it a watch. Now, I feel like Oshinoko's characters, they bring a lot to the table, especially Hoshino Ai. And I wish we got to see more of her. It's a spoiler. If you didn't watch the anime, I would recommend you watch it right now. The first episode. I don't care if you love idols or not. You have to go and watch the first episode of Oshinoko. And after you've done that, come back, and then you can hear us talk about it. Okay? All right. So now that the spoiler warning is away, let's talk about it. Oshinoko is the best character. I feel like the most important character is Hoshino Ai, and I feel like she's a very complex character. In the beginning, she comes out as these generic idol, hard worker, blah blah blah. We've seen the type. Especially in K-pop industry, in J-pop industry, you see a lot of these girls come out. But Hoshino Ai has these dimension to her. She's pretty smart. She's pretty meticulous. Like the way she captures the audience, she studies. She knows how much to smile exactly to the millimeter. So there is a lot of depth to her. So I want you to talk about a bit more about this.
Yeah, I feel like even after that specific event from episode 1, you could tell.
Yeah,
like
we gave us spoiler warnings. You can talk about it.
I mean, I'll still just in case, I'll still like tread in the corners. But essentially, I feel like after like near the end of that first episode when she died,
Wow.
It gave
I thought you were tripping on the back of your
No, I'm not tripping on my toes anymore. So basically, we thought she was just a fake person, right? Like, she had no emotions or anything like that. But near the end of that episode, we find out that she was actually a more intricate character than just, hey, I'm just trying to be an idol kind of thing, right? She also had some psychological issues that she coped with through her job and position, and that's really why she got pregnant when she was only 16 years old, right? So we could tell that Hoshino Ai as a character was very unique, and did have her own problems as well, but she was also shaping the lives of many other people around her as well. Most notably Ruby and Aqua, even before they were reborn. And I do want to also talk about the reincarnation aspect of it, because I know you hate reincarnation type anime.
So let's talk about reincarnation in Oshinoko, because first of all, there is this discrepancy, because when Aqua was born, he dies and is immediately born into the child. But Ruby died, I believe, 4 years ago before the event of the doctor's death. I can't remember his name. I think his name is Goro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she dies 4 years before. So it's a lot of question, like, why did she not get reincarnated immediately? Why did they both become, both of these people that know each other become his? And there's a lot of question that doesn't get answered. It's reincarnation, I feel like, for the sake of reincarnation. But while the reincarnation aspect of it is not appealing to me, I feel like you can overlook it, and it is all tied to Ai's character, and it also sets up this broader, this mysterious suspense theme that we get to see, like who's the killer, who's the dad. This is the big mystery, and I feel like without reincarnation, we never get to see this other side of Oshinoko, right?
Yeah, for sure.
While the reincarnation itself is done pretty, I would say, sloppily, what it brings, what it opens the door for, I feel like is much bigger, and I feel like that's what we should be focusing on. Like, I personally don't like the reincarnation part. I feel like they could have done other things.
Mm-hmm.
When we think about these anime where the character gets reincarnated or travels back in time, like a really good example, this is Boku Dake ga Inaimachi Erased, as most people know it. And I feel like that anime had done a really good job of handling this suspense, who the killer is, and the tone for it was also pretty consistent. It was a really bleak tone from the beginning to the end. But with that said, Oshinoko is very different from what Erased is, right? It has a whole different setting, and I feel like it portrays the idol industry very well. So you can overlook the reincarnation part and think about this industry that has a lot going for it. It's not just cute girls doing cute things. There is a lot of things that goes on to it, like business, logistics, a lot of people coordinating together, a lot of people putting their emotions aside and doing their best to bring something so the audience can smile. And I feel like that this aspect that Oshinoko shows, it does it excellent way. and I feel like that deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, the main reason why I brought up the reincarnation aspect is because I know, just like how you had qualms about it, I know other people will also feel the same exact way. I just wanted to say that, you know, the story would be quite different if that sort of aspect wasn't there. For example,
yeah, it's gonna be like another like idol anime.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It would just be Ruby's focus on the anime, where she's just trying to become an idol,
which wouldn't be bad, mind you. I feel like the author writes it in such a way that even as a slice of life anime, it would still do pretty well, right?
Yep.
And I feel like he has this experience with Kaguya-sama, but I feel like it's irrelevant. But still, that itself would also still be a good anime. But it's I guess it's even better with this suspense that we know about the martyr, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So without that sort of reincarnation aspect, because Goro got killed by the same exact person, he wouldn't have thought behind, why the heck is the same exact guy trying to kill I too?
No truck here though. No truck kun, unfortunately.
Yeah. No truck kun out here. It's just the sociopaths trying to kill everyone. But no. Without the reincarnation aspect, the story would be just the typical idol anime, and I feel like with that aspect it adds a lot more in-depth value to the anime because of the unique direction that they can take it. Sure, there are some aspects that don't really make much sense. For example, like you mentioned, Ruby died 4 years ago before and then was reincarnated. Meanwhile, Goro died. Like he got reincarnated the moment he died,
like
so it's
seconds before the birth.
It's something that you might have to overlook in that sense, but I feel like it's in the bigger picture, it's a very important thing to take into account, and it is also something that the anime does keep building up upon. For example, how I don't want to talk too much about that in terms of spoilers, but like you did mention, this anime does focus not just on the idol scene, but also on a lot of deeper things like the crew members and things like that. We do also go into a lot of darker aspects like suicide and bullying. Well, not really bullying, but like internet trolling and flaming, and how that affects actors and celebrities. So I feel like it goes into a lot of deep aspects, especially for the Japanese idol scene, that we might not know about particularly. Maybe those that follow things like the K-pop scene might know more about it.
I was gonna say that people who follow the idol culture or any kind of this industry where they make entertaining videos, even YouTube or even Twitch stream, there is a lot of the work that goes into it, because when you watch it on the screen, you just see like a fraction of what goes on behind the cute girls, behind the singing, behind the dancing. There's a lot of hard work, there's a lot of logistics that needs to be solved, and you got to remember, at the end of the day, these are businesses. We know time and time again how anime industry overworks their staff. The manga industry basically chews out authors. People are working 60, 80 hours a week to, get a manga out, and it's just 20 pages. Doesn't seem like anything to a reader at the end of the day, but that's a lot of work that goes on to it. Someone giving 60, 80 hours a week of their life to make something that good. It takes a lot of coordination. It takes a lot of work, and at the end of the day, it's all about money, right? And that's how the entertainment industry functions. Now, Oshi no Ko has this good balance between its characters. You want to talk about it? How they portray each part of the industry?
Wait, what do you mean?
So like we have people like Ruby, that's like inspiring to be an idol, doesn't have that much idea about it.
Oh,
then
okay.
You have people like Arima Kana, who has more experience, who's like a child actress that has to struggle with this fame she had, and later she has to cope with this lack of attention that she once had. And then you also have people like the strawberry production, the chairman.
What's her name?
She has
the TikToker. I can't remember her name.
Momo Moichi, something like that.
Yeah, so she is also another parallel that they compare to someone that couldn't succeed in the idol industry earlier, but it was their dream. So it's like a what if for Ruby if Ruby never was able to be an idol early on. So it's things like that, and a lot of the characters add a lot of depth and value to that because of how we have these different characters that all could have been, different forms of Hoshi no Ai. Even specifically Akane, right? She's also someone that's that could be compared very closely to Ai. So it's things like that add a lot of value to the story as well.
Okay, so let's talk about Aqua. It feels like a lot of these problems that we are talking about, Aqua's trying to address it either directly or indirectly, right? He has a lot of these. At first, he tries to prevent Ruby from becoming an idol because of these issues, right? He doesn't want his sister to become victim of this industry, right? And he also takes all these steps to find out who are these irresponsible people are that's causing all this mayhem, who are these people that's giving out information, this private information, causing chaos in the industry, right? So Aqua's goal kind of seems like either directly or intentionally or unintentionally trying to fix some of these issues, right?
Yeah, you gotta remember that at the end of the day, even as Goro, Aqua was a very, very extreme fan for Hoshi no Ai. So I think when she died, and especially because she ended up becoming his mother figure as well after he was reincarnated, I feel like that experience made him have a huge hatred for that sort of thing, like demeaning actors and having certain expectations for them, and pushing your own ideals towards these people when in reality they are also people themselves, right? And I feel like Aqua is just trying to, I wouldn't say get rid of that, but he wants to get rid of the people that push towards that sort of mentality. For example, the producers or the people that aren't helping out these actors with, or like the entertainers with these sorts of fans that are kind of rabid in the sense that they would go so far as to kill the person that they love if they do something like marrying someone or having kids or even just dating someone.
And I feel like all these characters try to contribute, and it's just not just one character running the show. While I does have a lot of influence, I feel like every character has something to offer in this show.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also brought up that most of these characters are familiar with Ai, and they do know about her, and some of them are actually fans of her as well. So it does seem like she, even after her death, she has a huge influence on the rest of the world. But even just like how it showed in episode 1, after her death, it was really just a small time thing that people mourned her loss. It wasn't really something that people thought too much about. So it goes in both ways, in the sense that she has a lasting impression on people, but it's also something that's from the past and people are trying to move on from as well. So it is pretty interesting to think about it in that sense. And just in general, I guess Ochinoko is very, very meticulous in the sense that there's way too much things. I don't know what I'm trying to say, honestly. I guess it's
many different.
There's a lot. It's something that you can't just watch like on
autopilot.
On autopilot. You have to actually think about what's going on and what different things mean. And I'm sure if people go through, like, for example, I don't want to say go to Reddit anime, but like things like discussion forums of episodes. Like I know a lot of anime sites have discussion forums or like comment sections for each episode, and people do explain why they think certain things happen. So I feel like that sort of theory crafting is also something that adds to the value of Oshinoko. So you guys should if you want to
like a lot of people, there has been a lot of bashing of Oshinoko. Now, it is a very good anime, it is a very popular anime, and a lot of people's knee-jerk reaction is to instantly hate it because it's popular. And in my anime list and many other review sites, they instantly boo the show. But I feel like once you take your time, like even when I started the show, didn't like it as much. When I got near the end of it, I was like, yeah, this explains a lot of the issues I had with this anime very well, right? So you have to watch it, you have to give it time, and you have to think about the underlying themes and the symbolisms. and I feel like that's what makes Oshinoko the anime of the season, right?
Yeah, 100%. You basically explained exactly what I wanted to say. There are a lot of underlying themes and symbols that you have to think about while you're watching it, and if you do figure out, most of what's going on, then it definitely should be your anime of the season as well. I do want to talk about like a few other anime that weren't on my list, and I think that they were still pretty good in terms of how they ended, and that people might also like watching. So it's really just two anime.
A few honorable mentions.
Yeah, it's really just two anime.
Yeah, let's talk about them.
Sure. So the first one would be it's Loving Yamada at level 999. So this is an anime that's focused on, as you can see from the title, it has an MMORPG aspect to it, and this is an anime that's very classic, I think, in terms of the romance side, and also the art style. It's kind of similar to Chihaya Furu for people that know that. The art style is very similar to that, but the romance is very very unique in the sense that it's about a girl that went through a breakup, and she copes by playing a game and finding someone there, and she ends up slowly liking that person as well, and they end up liking each other. So it's very cute in that sense, and I did enjoy watching it. I think people that play MMORPGs will also enjoy it. If you like romances in general, I think it's...
I have this like very I'm on the fence about this one, because it doesn't exactly focus on MMORPG as much as it focuses on the main character. She's not a gamer. She's someone she's a
casual.
Into gaming. Yeah, she's a casual. She's someone who gets into gaming because of her ex-boyfriend. And I feel like if you look at it from that perspective, someone who's trying to connect with the gamer, I feel like it becomes more enjoyable, because I went to this anime expecting MMORPG session like Log Horizon or Sword Art Online, but that was something completely different, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really focus too much on MMORPGs, I guess, in that sense. It's more about...
Which is good and bad depending on what you want out of your...
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty watchable.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's definitely watchable. It's not anything too great. I'd probably just give it an 8, a solid 8 this season, but it definitely would be like maybe the 10th best anime or like the 9th best anime this season. So I do think it's worth watching in that sense. And
this
then
anime has a lot of similarity with Otaku Eye. Do you remember that anime, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because one is a gamer, one is an otaku. There's like a difference, but they're trying to kind of make it work. Here you have Yamada, who's a gamer, and the girl is not so much of a gamer, but they're also trying to make it work. So yeah, what do you think about that comparison?
I think it's not a direct comparison. It's not a direct comparison, but I would say you do get a good idea of what it should be, what it's like from that comparison. Yeah, I think it's very, very similar. I guess the only difference is that this is more focused on drama between different characters. There's a lot of like jealousy. The main character, despite her age, is very childish. So it does get kind of annoying in that sense. By the main character, I mean the female lead, not the male lead.
We don't even know her name.
it's Akane. It's Akane. Akane is very childish despite her age. So it might be annoying for some people, but I think she's very realistic in terms of someone that just got dumped. Doesn't really play much games. It's just your casual, like jack of all trades kind of person. That's not really special at any specific thing.
Yeah, like you see that direct contrast between her and Ruri, who's like all gothic, all in on what she likes, whereas Akane is more like a rounded person, right?
Yeah.
So now, Yamada-Kun. My love with Yamada-Kun, definitely definitely like a good anime to watch.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a must watch, but it's definitely a good watch. And then the second anime that I wanted to talk about.
That one. Yeah.
This is actually a webtoon, or rather a manhwa, a Korean manhwa that got adapted into an anime, and I'm liking this trend where more and more Korean manhwas are being adapted into anime. So essentially, this is It's called The Reason Why Raeliana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion. So it's one of those.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Put, like a title on the thing.
Yeah, it's I'll say it again. The Reason Why Raeliana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion. So it's one of those anime where someone is whisked into a story of, maybe like a novel they read previously, like a romance novel, and like Korean character is being whisked into that world as not the main character or not the male lead or anything like that, but more like a side character that's destined to die or something like that, right? And that's really the background behind this. The main character, Raeliana, is destined to die in the story, and she ends up trying to utilize what she knows from the plot to suck up to a duke, basically, to try to save her life. And the romance between the duke and Raeliana is very, very interesting. So basically, it's the story between Raeliana and the duke, and the duke doesn't really care about her, but he gets blackmailed by her, so he has to end up taking care of her. So it's a story about how two people that aren't actually necessarily in love with each other at first, slowly growing into a relationship where they do love each other. Initially they only created a contract relationship to keep themselves safe, but what happens between the two end up making themselves like each other, and it's very interesting to watch in that sense. I feel like a lot of females would like this rather than guys, because it is a shoujo type story. So and I think don't feel bad if you're a guy that likes this. I really like this anime.
Yeah, I watched a lot of shoujo anime.
Yeah. Don't feel bad in that sense, right? I feel like it's something that everyone should give a try. But especially those that do like shoujo stuff. This is definitely something that you might want to watch this season.
And with that said, those were our anime of the seasons. Those are to look out for. Let's talk about openings and endings. Do you think these seasons openings had any, were they good, bad, average?
Yeah, I guess in terms of openings, I did like Oshinoko's. Idol was really good. There was this anime called Edomae Elf, Otaku Elf. The opening for that is very. I like the opening for that. It's not like anything crazy good, but it's very catchy.
But the opening is good.
No,
right?
the anime is actually also pretty decent, not gonna lie. If I'm gonna be honest, for people that are interested in Japanese history, it is pretty interesting to watch, just to learn more about the Edo period. And the opening is very catchy. I really like the opening.
All right, to wrap up this podcast, we're gonna talk about how we're gonna rank these animes. So we're gonna go from top to bottom. So S tier. What do you think this season was the S tier, the best anime of the season was?
Okay, so probably Oshinoko.
Oshinoko. I feel like Oshinoko is probably like the only one.
I'd only put only Oshinoko. Yeah.
There are some solid ones that I would give like an A tier. What would that be too?
Yeah, so for me that would be Yabai-Yatsu.
Yabai-Yatsu, yeah, definitely.
Gundam, Witch from Mercury season 2.
Okay.
And I don't think I'd actually put Demon Slayer there.
I think Demon Slayer is.
Yeah, maybe I'll put I'll put Demon Slayer there.
Like yeah.
No, yeah, let's give it an A.
Okay, we'll put it on A. Birdie Wing, where did you put it?
I'd put Birdie Wing at a B.
At a B, okay. Dr. Stone.
Oh.
C, D.
I'd put that at a D
C.
Probably. No, I'd put it at a D.
Insomniacs After School.
That would be that's actually kind of
like a B plus,
interesting.
Right?
Yeah, no. It's honestly maybe not a B plus. It would be like a solid B. Yeah, it would be a B.
Yeah, like it's good, but it's not like A tier good. It's not like Yabai-Yatsu good, but it's really
honestly no. I think it's like even bordering closer to like a B minus than it is a B plus. So it's like it's good, but it's like decent good.
Let's put it on B. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Jigokuraku. I feel like that's the disappointment of the season. Jigokuraku, like a B. I feel like it could have been like an S tier anime, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. In that sense, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like compared to what the expectations were, the animations were, the story wise, it had that potential, but I feel like it didn't live up. Still pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And finally, A Galaxy Next Door.
Damn, we skipped so many anime. What are you talking about?
We're seeing so many because not a lot of them really actually,
Really? Okay, I'd put like Tengoku Daimakyo at a B, or
Okay.
maybe even an A. No, I'd put it at B, B plus. It was really good in my opinion. Especially like with all the mystery and everything. But Galaxy Next Door, let's not even like talk about that, to be honest. Like, it'll probably be a D.
Disappointment.
D for disappointment, yeah.
D for disappointment, yeah. Looking on, let's briefly talk about the summer season, because summer is usually like the biggest season of the anime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have some heavy hitters coming on. Of course, PandoraBot is of course gonna give you guys some of the best recommendations, something to watch out for. He lives and breathes anime. He's gonna make, a fantastic lake, so you gotta watch out for that. But let's talk about the summer season. What are some things you're looking out for, briefly?
All right. Well, first, obviously, would be the two most well-known sequels that are coming next season, which are Jujutsu Kaisen and Mushoku Tensei. Both are getting season 2.
Yeah.
And then we have, honestly, this is an anime that maybe not many people know about, but it's getting a remake. It's called Rurouni Kenshin, or maybe some people know about it as Samurai X.
About Samurai X, yeah.
Yeah, I'm extremely looking forward to this because even back in the day, I thought this anime was great. I honestly was surprised to see that I was getting a remake. The trailer looks good, at least, so I don't think it'll be too much of a disappointment. At least I hope this doesn't come back to bite me and it actually is a disappointment.
All right, with that said, our final segment is ranking this season as a whole. Now, Spring 2023, as you said, has had a lot of good sequels, had some pretty good original animes as well, had some disappointments, but more standouts. Now, let's give it a rank. S, A, B, C, D, or F.
The entire spring season, overall, I'll probably give it like a B plus. Like, so, it would be like a B, but almost close to an A. Mainly because actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, it does have one of the most standout, top anime, and I think it could be anime of the year. So with Oshinoko, so just because of Oshinoko, I feel like that can elevate it just to an A.
All right, so we're gonna settle with Spring 2023 as A tier. Definitely better than the last 2 seasons, but we're gonna have to see if it can compare to the next season. With that said, thank you guys for watching, and thank you PandoraBot for having me. I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Thank you for that, and I want to thank the viewers as well for watching all of this. And if you do enjoy this sort of content, please let us know in the comments below, because if it's something that our fans want to watch, I'm down to make more of these videos. If it's not something you want to watch, let us know, or how we could improve.
This is like the first time we've done this kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
it's
so
my first time, and I'm pretty sure your first time as well, right?
Exactly. But both of us do love talking about anime, so yeah. I do want to make more of these videos. If you guys like these, just let me know. And if you guys can look forward to the next season, we will be making another video regarding the best anime for summer 2023. I'll be making that video in about 4 or 5 weeks into the season, so keep an eye out for that. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell as well, because sometimes you might not get a notification for the video as soon as a video is released. So that's about it from me. I'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.
Bye.